So I have a brief video here that's going to tell you about how we're taking tests in our Mylab math course. Okay, the testing is done online, and this will take you through not only the system requirements but also my personal requirements for this course. This course uses Respondus Monitor Lockdown Browser, and this requires that you use a PC and a webcam. I suggest that you go to YouTube and watch a short 2-minute video on Respondus Monitor, and you can just search for Respondus Monitor student video, and this just kind of explains what's going to happen when you click on the lockdown browser and what happens during your tests. Again, it's only a 2-minute video. I tried to put it in here, but unfortunately that wouldn't play as well. So just go to YouTube and check out the Respondus Monitor student video. The first thing you have to do is to set up your PC, and it also allows you to check your PC to make sure that it's working for tests. In all of my courses, I have a sample test so that you can make sure that your PC is actually working. The first thing you have to do is go to the sample test in your Mylab math course. It's always due the first week of class, and you can take it as many times as you need. When you open the sample test, you'll see this screen here in white for each test. And you'll see this also on every test that you take in the course. The first time you do this, when you're doing the sample test, you'll go into there and you'll click on this download button here. And this will download the lockdown browser onto your PC. And you want to put it on whatever PC you're going to use throughout the course. Once you've done this, you can see there's a little link there. You can see view a test page, that's in light blue, saying there's a link there. And what this does is it tests to make sure your lockdown browser is working and that you're ready to take a test with the lockdown browser. It's the only way you can access the tests in this course is to have the lockdown browser. It's not a bad idea for every test, maybe a day before or a couple hours before you're planning on taking it, to go into open the test and just view the test page. But be very careful. You don't want to start the test because that will start the timer. Okay. You can also notice here that for the sample test, you have 30 minutes to take the test. And this will tell you on all your tests, it will tell you how much time you have. So if you ever want to know how much time you have for a test, it's there. It should also have a running clock while you're taking the test. So you've downloaded the browser, you've viewed the test page, and it says successful. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and take the sample test. Just click on Start Test, and this will open this sample test. This test is not graded. It's really for you to understand the process and for you to make sure that your PC is set up. If you do not do this, and you get to the test day for the first test and you wait till the end of the day and you can't figure out how to get the lockdown browser to work, you will not get an extension on that test, because this test has been there the whole first week and I've recommended multiple times for you to take it. And it's got a due date, which is at least 2 or 3 days before your first test. You have unlimited attempts to access the sample test, not all tests, just the sample test. So if you can't get it to work the first time, you can close it out and come back later, etc. This is just to make sure your computer is set up and works well ahead of time for you to take the sample test. This whole sample test, setting it up, taking the sample test, should take you really less than 30 minutes, and I would judge less than 20 minutes, and that's not using any of that time or just a little bit of that time. I think there's 1 or 2 questions in there just so that you get a feel for what a problem looks like in there. If you have any issues with this, you contact the Mylab Math technical support team. Whenever you're having a technical issue with Mylab Math, you should be contacting their technical support, not sending me an email, not sending me a text or calling me, because I cannot resolve your technical issues. You can see this help button up here. This is exactly where it's printing, and that can link you into the student help and technical support. Do not email them, call them, because they are there 24/7, and they'll usually resolve things with you over the phone, possibly even asking to mirror your screen so they can see what's going on. So what about the rules and procedures? The test, as you can see, like you saw with the sample test, hopefully by now, well, you will see, sorry. All of your tests are taken in Mylab Math using the Respondus monitor, okay? This requires you to have a webcam and a PC. You can use the webcam on your PC, which most have them now, or you can buy an external PC that plugs in through a USB port, and these are as cheap as $8 to $10 to $15, so they're not a huge expense. All tests must be completed by 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time on the due date. All due dates in your course are in Mylab Math. They're not in the syllabus, they're in Mylab Math. Tests do have no extensions. There is not an extension available on tests. While you can finish homework after the due date, you cannot do that for tests. So I only grant extensions, and they're very rare and very limited, if you request an extension before the due date with a valid reason. Okay, just send me an email prior to the due date with the reason why you think you should get special consideration versus the rest of the class who is finishing it by that date. Again, extensions are rare in my classes. Once you've started the test, or when you're about to get ready for the test, you are allowed to use scratch or work paper. What you must do is you must show both sides of the scratch and work papers, showing clearly that they're each single pages by rubbing them or flipping them, whatever, and showing both sides during the environmental scan. The environmental scan is something you'll understand, and we'll talk about it in just a second. This is the beginning of the Respondus Monitor lockdown browser test. They do what's called an environmental scan. You are also allowed a TI-84 or TI-83 calculator and a writing tool. You are not allowed any notes. You are not allowed any books. You are not allowed to have your phone nearby. Your phone should not be on your desk or anywhere nearby. You should not answer your phone during the test. You should not have any other devices, tablets, etc. You are not allowed to leave during the test, so make sure you go to the restroom before you start. You should not be interacting with others during the test. In fact, you should be alone. I understand some of you may live with roommates, you may live with family, and there may be people around that you don't have an isolated area where you can test. Just let them know you're taking a test and that they shouldn't be interacting with you. There are no formula sheets that you are allowed unless it's given to you by me, and I will alert you that that formula sheet is available and send it to you. Just like the scratch paper, you're going to need to show that formula sheet in the environmental scan, and you cannot write on it anywhere, and you need to show the front and the back or all pages if it's a multiple page formula sheet. Most of my classes do not have formula sheets. So when you're ready to take the test, and I strongly suggest that you do not wait till the last hours of the due date. I suggest you start the test early in the evening, maybe 5, 6, or 7 if you're waiting to the last day, in case you do hit technical problems or you either accessing the test or once you get in the test. So first, make sure you're ready to take the test before you open it. Take a restroom break, clear your desk of everything that's not allowed. Have your calculator handy, your ID handy. You need a picture ID, any scratch paper you want, etc. Once you're ready, go ahead to and open the test landing page in Mylab Math. That just means clicking on it in your assignment list or on your home page. Again, here you might want to go ahead and hit that view test page to make sure that your Respondus monitor is working. You really want to make sure that you're taking all tests in an environment that has strong and reliable internet service. Okay. Then once you've made sure that everything's working, go ahead and click Start Test. And what this will do is it will start your Respondus Monitor check-in. It will walk you through each of these steps, and you'll experience them during the sample test so you know what to expect. It'll ask you to show a picture ID and to take a photograph of that, and it will use your webcam to do that. Respondus Monitor will show you how to do that. Then the next thing it will ask you for is to do an environmental scan where you are to film your entire desk, chair, and room during the environmental scan. If your webcam is built into your laptop, you're going to have to lift it up and kind of angle it so that I can see your chair, I can see the entire desktop, and then do a slow move around the room so we see the environment that you're taking it in. Set your laptop back down, and then film every side, every piece of scratch paper that you use. And if there's a formula sheet, film all sides of those pieces of paper as well. Once you've done that, it will allow you to enter into your test. So go ahead and hit Take Test or Start Test. I don't know why. Take the test, go through and answer all the questions. At the very end of the test, it will give you an opportunity to record your work. And what you need to do is to record all of your scratch paper and film both sides of it. It gives you, it'll walk you through this. You'll line it up so you can see it on your screen, and then you'll hit Take Picture and you can validate it's good. So again, when you're using your scratch paper during the test, I highly recommend you try to keep it neat and in order, and make sure that you number the work on the scratch paper as well. This can be one of the most helpful things for you in getting partial credit for answers that the system marks wrong. Okay? If you have any testing issues, for example, maybe you cannot log into test and you might see something that says password required. There are no passwords on any of the tests. Sometimes this happens if your Respondus Monitor lockdown browser is not being used or it's not updated correctly. So I would go back to the test land page, check the test, hit that view test page and see if it's successful, and then maybe try entering the test again. You could also close the browser and go back into eCampus, go back into Mylab Math, go back into the test and see if it works. At this point, if you're not into the test, you're not using any of your time. Perhaps while you're taking the test, your internet has some kind of funky thing where it skips or jumps or something, and or your test just freezes. What you want to do here is to close out of your browser windows and relog back into your browser, log into eCampus, log back into Mylab Math, and go back to the test. The test is set up so that if you get kicked out or it freezes, you can close it and go back in, and it should pick up exactly where you left off. So you want to do that rather quickly, but do not say, oh, I was kicked out or it froze and I couldn't, so I didn't know what to do. You can just close everything and start over again. Again, this is another reason why you want to make sure you take your tests in a place that has reliable internet. I don't give a lot of leeway for technical problems that you should have solved or should have used better judgment in taking it in a place that has reliable internet. If you do have an issue that you cannot resolve, you need to contact technical support at Mylab Math by phone. They have a 24/7 phone line specifically for students, and they resolve the majority of issues in minutes. Do not call the professor. The professor cannot resolve technical issues. If there is some kind of issue that involves the professor, then Mylab Math will alert you to that, and in most cases, they will also alert the professor. If they don't, they will tell you, your professor needs to do X, Y, or Z, and then you will be able to access it. At that point, you would contact me, but do not contact me first. If you have any technical problems with testing in Mylab Math, call their technical support line. Do not email them unless you have several days before the test is due, because I will not give you an extension because you didn't handle the problem in the right way. Okay? And this is again another reason why you don't want to wait till the last hours before the test is due, because if you hit any problems, even just the snag where it freezes and you get to log back in, you could lose 10 or so minutes. And if the clock is ticking down, maybe your test clock is not ticking, but the midnight shutdown or 11:59 shutdown is. Finally, you've taken the test, everything worked, and you want to review your test and see why did you get the grade that you got in Mylab Math. You can review your test anytime after the due date has passed. For any grade, or I think anything that you want to review, you have to use the Mylab Math gradebook link that is in eCampus. This is below the normal link you go to. Like you go to a Mylab Math link that takes you into all your assignments and your home page to look at your grades, and at any time you can see how you're doing in the entire course. It gives you your course grade there. There's a thing that says show me the calculation. It will break down how you get points based on homework, quizzes, tests, and the final exam. So you can see all of the areas and how they've been scored, and you can see your overall course grade at any time throughout this course by using the Mylab Math gradebook link. Okay? Again, you can review your test after the due date, and then you can see what you did wrong on any of the problems. When you've reviewed your test, you can ask your professor, me, to review and possibly provide partial credit for specific questions. Do note you need to review your test and request me to review it before the next test begins. At the end of the semester, you cannot go back and try to get some extra points and say, hey, would you review test number 2? I think I should get points on numbers 3, 5, whatever. Okay? You have to review each test before the next test begins, or is due, I should say, not begins. The way that you do this, review your test, see if there's any areas that you think you deserve points. Then you will email me. You'll send one email to me. Make sure your full name is in it. The course that you're taking is in it. I teach multiple courses every semester. Make sure that you write the section number that you are in. Often I teach the same course but different sections. And then also make sure that you indicate the test number you want reviewed. After you've done that in your header, then identify each question number that you want reviewed and a 1-sentence reason why you think you deserve partial credit. Because you got it wrong, because you thought something was wrong, is not a reason for me to give you partial credit. These are like typo mistakes, following instructions wrong, or simple arithmetic mistakes that you might be able to use your scratch paper as validation why I might give you some partial credit. So that's one of the reasons I get you to put the pictures of your scratch paper in the test. Okay? So an example would be, again, you want to identify each number. So you would say number 1 and then a sentence why you would skip a line, number 4, a short sentence why you believe you deserve partial credit. An example might be, I put the answer in decimal form, not fraction form as directed. The answer was 5 and I put -5. I missed the sign, etc. Okay. I do not do any retests. I do not tend to give partial credit because you got close. It's usually because you've made an arithmetic error in a higher level math class. So I think this is enough to get you started. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and I will answer them as best as I can.